Hello, my name is Isaac Bledsoe. In our most recent classroom activity, we were able to choose from a different set of TED Talks videos, which TED Talks is basically just a video series that is educational and influential. It's where they bring experts in on certain subjects to speak and discuss their findings and opinions on the certain topics that are being discussed. And the video that I chose was titled Drawing on Humor for Change. And the speaker they brought in for this was a woman by the name of Liza Minnelli. She is a New York cartoonist, and her cartoons stem from anywhere from politics to modern life. Throughout the video, Liza talked a lot about how women are held to certain standards, or they are told to follow certain rules or certain guidelines or certain traditions that women should follow according to society. And she talks about how women, as these tradition carriers, should feel empowered to break away from these rules or these norms or these traditions and to change the rule book actually through intellect and humor. There's a quote throughout her video that stuck with me, and that quote is, "Fear is a great motivator." And I couldn't agree with that more. I feel that if you want something, or if you need something, or if you need to change something, you need to find that motivation to go out and actually do these things through something, whether that be a good thing or whether that be a bad thing like fear. You need to find that motivation from something. And there's actually a quote that she says throughout her video, and the quote that she says is, "I was afraid of womanhood. Not that I'm not afraid now, but I've learned to pretend. I've learned to be flexible." And I thought that was actually a really good connecting point from her talking about how fear is a great motivator to her talking about her fear of womanhood, because her fear of womanhood actually gave her the motivation to go against the norms herself, to not just follow the rules or the way that certain women should dress or behave or what they should do in their life. Her mother was a housekeeper, and her mom, she said, even though she was a housekeeper, she was not a normal woman. She gave her daughter a cartoon book when at a very young age, and they would go out and do things that normal mothers and daughters wouldn't do. And she talked about how this was a great influence on her life early, and that's actually what gave her drive to want to be a cartoonist, which is predominantly male. That profession, cartoonist, is predominantly male, and just to see her go out and make a life of that, going against the norms and breaking the rule book like that, just speaks for itself. Um, like I said, she became interested in cartooning at a very young age, and she talked about how humor was always a great way for her to communicate. Sorry. Excuse me. She said that humor was always a great way for her to communicate because she was a rather shy person. And even when she talked in the video about her parents' divorce, she brought it up in a humorous way in which the audience kind of chuckled at it whenever she talked about her parents divorcing. And I thought it was kind of odd that the audience chuckled at a topic like that, but the speaker, Liza, she seemed to embrace that the audience was taking it in a humorous way, kind of lighten the mood on something that is rather a depressing subject. She made it into something that can be chuckled about but also taken seriously, and people actually listen and retain the information she is saying through that. Um, what I got from that is I think that it is easier to cope and to talk about bad things or bad events or bad memories if a little bit of humor is sprinkled throughout that conversation, because it just makes it a little bit more easier to cope with or to understand. Um, and I just found this video to be very intriguing and very interesting. And I always love watching TED's talks anyway, so I was glad that we had an assignment where we were able to do that. And just to end the video, I wanted to list one of my favorite cartoons that she had going across in her video, because throughout the whole video she had her cartoons going across a monitor, and this cartoon that I thought was funny, just because I kind of can relate to it as a college student. Um, it said it was two women sitting in a restaurant, and one woman says to the other, "I'm worried that I'm not worried." And I found that funny because as college kids, we are always supposed to be doing something, whether that's studying or maybe working ahead on some assignments, or maybe just trying to get an assignment done before midnight. And sometimes I don't think we're necessarily worried about those things because we have so much stuff going on from working or class or friends or anything. Um, I just thought it was funny because as college kids, we're not always too worried about our assignments or our tests when actually we probably should be. So whenever I came across that cartoon strip she showed, I thought it was pretty good. But thank you for your time, and goodbye.